Good afternoon, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to look at Supertramp live sets and a couple of the deluxe versions we've got on CD. So I suppose one of the consequences of Rick and Roger not getting on so well these days is we haven't had any kind of archive releases or box sets of Supertramp albums. In fact, we don't even have reissues of the vinyl albums for the most part. I did pick up a new copy of Crime of the Century in Italy, and I did pick up a picture disc of Breakfast in America, but they're not readily available for some reason, because I think they're important albums. I don't really see why they're not, but anyway. And in terms of deluxe editions on the CD, they have put out a couple, and I was listening to them the other day because I don't normally like live albums. Much prefer studio, and in particular with Supertramp, but I was really impressed with some of the live stuff I was listening to. So this Crime of the Century Deluxe edition, which I think came out 2014, has the original album and then a whole concert live at Hammersmith where they're performing the whole of Crime of the Century, split into two halves, side one first, side two at the end, and in the middle some tracks from their upcoming album Crisis What Crisis. So Sister Moonshine, Just a Normal Day, and Another Man's Woman and Lady are performed. So, and the quality is amazing. They managed to replicate, you know, what is quite a complicated studio sound, and I'm sure they had some good engineers at the concert, but still one imagines with an album like this that it took a lot of painstaking overdubbing. Well, maybe it did, and the album is superior, probably, but the live version is still very credible and very a tribute to the musicianship of the band members. Very spirited version of School. I mean, obviously Rick Davis's piano playing is sublime, whether he's in a studio or live. He's just got that gift. He can just do the improvisation of the solo on School pretty effortlessly. And but you know, even the more intricate numbers like Hide in Your Shell work pretty well live. Sister Moonshine is spirited, but maybe misses a bit of the production on the album. Another Man's Woman is quite a difficult song to do live. They have a good stab at it, but the coda towards the end is probably better in the studio. But it's not a bad effort at all. And then, you know, even a track like Rudy, they even have the train announcement in the concert. You know, the train to Bristol Temple Meads will leave at platform whatever it is, and I really enjoyed that live album. And then the only other album we've got a deluxe edition is Breakfast in America, where they've done the same thing. They've got the original album, then they've got a concert from the Breakfast Tour from '79, and it seems to be recorded in both Wembley and Miami. I'm not sure which track was recorded where, but John Anthony Helliwell is introducing one song by saying, we've got a new album out, came out about 6 weeks ago, so it was released at the end of March. So that means that some of this concert material was from the middle of May, when the album was still pretty fresh. And what's great about this concert is it's got a lot of songs performed from the album which didn't appear on Paris. In fact, when Paris appeared, there were only 3 songs from Breakfast on it. Logical Song, Take the Long Way Home, and Breakfast in America. But here you've got live versions of Goodbye Stranger, Child of Vision, and Oh Darling on top of that. So that's brilliant. And then also a live version from '79 of Downstream, which was not on the Paris concert. Give a Little Bit, not on the Paris concert. Another Man's Woman, not on the Paris concert. I think most of the other stuff was. So yeah, really enjoyed that. I mean, I think with push comes to shove, I probably do prefer the albums, but still, I was really kind of pleasantly surprised how good those live albums are, and a very good companion piece to the studio album. Similar sort of thought process to 461 Ocean Boulevard, Eric Clapton, which came out as a deluxe edition with the studio, and then the live version, actually that was at Hammersmith as well, I seem to remember, live version of most of the album. So this was the official live album, which came out in 1980, based on a concert in Paris, November 79, and the band recorded this to introduce the fans to their back catalogue, and but by the time this album came out, I already was into their back catalogue, so these versions came second to me, and without exception I prefer the studio. I do like this album, and it's a superb cover, by the way, with a great illustration by Cindy Marsh, and all of their covers are sublime, as we know, and great picture of the band walking on stage with John holding his glass of red wine and a couple of them puffing away on cigarettes. Great picture. They reproduced the sound of the album pretty well. It's just, by the time they did this concert, it was November 79, so the album had already been out 6 months, and I'm not saying they're getting stale, but I don't think they're that fresh in comparison to actually some of the versions on here from earlier in the tour. But this is fairly minor criticism. It's still a bloody decent live album, and it's a lot better than the other live album I have on CD, which is the one from 2002 without Roger, which is okay in parts for the Rick tracks, but when they try and do the Roger tracks with someone else on vocals, it's just not appropriate. I didn't enjoy that at all. So that was what I have on CD or record. And then on DVD, there's quite a bit to show you. There's 3 things to show you. There's a superb concert from London, 1977. I'm not sure if this is official or unofficial, but because I know Roger in particular is quite keen to clamp down on bootleg stuff out there, but I'm not sure if this is, as I say, a bootleg or not. But the interesting thing about this concert is that they performed the song Babaji live, because that was the current album at the time. And the other song, which they wouldn't normally have performed, which is on here, is Poor Boy from Crisis What Crisis. So that it's not brilliant quality, which makes me tend to believe it's not an official release, but it's still very well worth watching. And then this is the concert DVD version of the Paris album. I mean, not track for track, because it's got some of the tracks left off the Paris album for space reasons are on here, such as there's a live version of Goodbye Stranger on the DVD. There's a live version of Even in the Quietest Moments, title track of that album, on here. There's a live version of Give a Little Bit, which didn't make the Caris album, because I think I remember Roger saying he couldn't find a good recording of that song, or one which was up to standard, so that's on here. And Another Man's Woman is on here. Child of Vision is on here, and it's great to see that live on DVD. All the rest of the stuff was on the Paris album. So yeah, really enjoyable. But as I say, not perhaps captured at the peak of that tour, but it's, still very good to see them. And then this is the other DVD I have, which is a kind of documentary, part documentary and part concert footage from their 83 tour. And the documentary is quite interesting because they just split up. So this came out in 86, I think it was. So around about the time of the Free as a Bird album. I'm Begging You, the single, I think that is on here, the video, and Free as a Bird single as well, plus the single videos for Better Days and Cannonball from Brother Where You Bound, My Kind of Lady videos on here. But interestingly, not the promo videos they did for the other songs, like Logical Song. There's a promo video which to this day is not available on YouTube for some reason. Anyway, the documentary is okay, and they talk about the split. They're quite nice about each other, but they said the time had come to part ways. But the highlight of this DVD is the 83 tour, and that was the tour I saw them on in Earl's Court in London, summer of 83. Roger's got shorter hair, and they're doing tracks from Famous Last Words. So they opened with Crazy, with the scissors cutting the rope, remember? And then familiar tracks. Not too many surprises in the track listing on here, but what's interesting is some of the concerts were recorded outside. I remember an outside version recorded in Germany somewhere where Roger's doing Give a Little Bit, and same goes for is it Ain't Nobody But Me? Yeah, I think they're doing it outside there, and that's great. You can tell the fans are absolutely adoring the band, and it was their last tour together. I have seen Supertramp with the Rick version in 2002 in Budapest, which was quite good, but the far superior concert I saw was the Roger Hodgson solo concert from 2015 in Veszprém in Hungary. That was just absolutely brilliant. He's got a superb band with him. He reproduces all of his classics, or a lot of his classics, from the band years and also from his distinguished solo career. And I'm looking forward to seeing him again if he ever comes anywhere near where I live here in Hungary. I'll go and see him. And I did manage to get a couple of the albums signed for me and for my boys. He signed some of the Supertramp album covers for us, so that was nice, and did a dedication, actually played the song Two of Us, just said, for John, Richie and Tommy, this is for you. So that was brilliant. So that was a discussion of the Supertramp live material. I think they did a good job in reproducing their studio sound. As I say, if I have to choose one to take to a desert island, I'd take the studio version, but I think, you know, I was pleasantly surprised about how the musicianship came through live. They were and they are five very talented musicians, and it really comes through on all of this material, both studio and live. Thank you for watching. See you next time.